Fighting game is something so great.
And that's why I love seeing the growth in the community over the past, few months. It looks like it will keep the momentum with this growth for a while. With new players entering the fray, or button mashers looking to advance their skills, there's a lot to go over when it comes to what players need to know on how to improve. So I'm going to go over the very basics on improving at fighting games. And I'm actually going to tell you something a lot of people don't mention when giving tips to new players. But first, I really think it's pretty appropriate to mention what I have accomplished in the fighting game community, so you have an idea of where my knowledge is at. Well, to be blunt, I haven't done much. I went 0-2 at a Gifted Gear Exile tournament and that's about it. So why do I think I have information that is worth anything to new players? Well, because I have improved at the games I played. I was stuck in the blue ranks in Tekken 7 for the first couple years, then I learned some things, and now I'm in the orange ranks. I was bronze in SF6, now I am platinum 2. Now I know that is nothing compared to the standard competitors hold themselves to. Heck, Tekken players think you need to be at Tekken God Omega to even think about going into tournaments, and Street Fighter players think you need master rank for the same thing. But I think an improvement, no matter how small, is something to take note of. So, as a humble enthusiast of fighting games, I offer you some advice that I think is not said enough. So what isn't said enough? Well, it's that fighting games are a very involved genre of game. You may play League of Legends, Call of Duty, or some gacha and just chill out and zone out as you play those games. By the way, not saying you can't get technical with those games, but I'm just speaking about the general player base. When it comes to fighting games, when you're looking to improve against other players, it is a very mentally taxing genre of game to play. Not only do you have to be constantly making intentional decisions, but you have to keep your cool throughout your time playing matches. It can be easy to get frustrated with losses, plans not going your way, and just being frustrated with the way your opponent is playing. Keeping your cool is essential to consistently make smart plays. So yeah, there's a lot of effort needed to play these games, which is something that I think some players don't expect when wanting to get better. Some may think that being told a few tricks will help them improve, but in fact, a lot of self-involved work is needed to improve at fighting games. You need to assess your own strengths and weaknesses constantly. Every match is an opportunity to improve even if you win. But you can have a stronger player look over your replays and have them give you tips based on what they observe in the match that will only help you in the short term. It is when you learn how to find the points of the game you need to improve upon by yourself is when you will find better success. I almost kind of feel like some players just have that sort of talent for fighting games. Strong players just have that knack for assessing the performance and figuring out what options are the strongest in specific situations. Not saying that if you don't get it right away you're hopeless, just that you may need to work harder than some lucky few. I haven't even mentioned being able to read your opponent yet, which is a whole other monster to deal with. So I sort of rambled for a couple minutes, so let's get organized with what I've covered so far. Fighting games is a very involved genre. You can't expect to improve unless you are being intentional with your decision making. You need the mental fortitude to keep your cool in frustrating situations, you need to be able to assess your own strengths and weaknesses, and you have to read your opponent and assess those strengths. That's a lot of complicated stuff you have to become proficient at to improve at fighting games, but I assure you it is very doable. Tackling these one step at a time is the fastest way to improve. I'm now going to give you some tips on how to get better at each of these concepts. First off, how to be intentional. To even begin to be intentional with what you do, you have to understand what you are capable of. Pick a character and spend some time in training mode with them. Get a good feeling for how the normals feel, how to do the special moves and supers, what are some simple combos as you're starting out, that sort of thing. If you're wondering how long you need to be in training mode to be proficient with your character, I would say start with at least a couple hours. What I mean by that is you'll never be done with training mode as long as you are always interested in improving. You're going to lose matches and encounter weird situations that you should definitely go into training mode to practice how to deal with. I won't really go into detail on how to use training mode because that is a topic large enough for a video in itself. Just for now, as you're starting, learn a character's toolkit and then play some matches with what you learn. When you go to play your first matches after spending some time in training mode, you may draw a blank and completely forget what you learned. Don't worry, it happens to a lot of players. And even if you don't experience that, the thing you should focus on is doing at least one thing intentionally. If you spend a few games thinking, I'm gonna throw more fireballs this match, that action will eventually become second nature to you, and then you can move on to doing another move intentionally. Move along with this method until you can easily use your character's moves with intention in a match. It is from here that you can really focus on building your strategies. But strategies don't always go to plan, and that is when you need to learn how to keep your cool.
Rare footage of Daigo actually angry.
So you're gonna get frustrated. I get frustrated, top players get frustrated. Learning how to deal with that frustration is what will help you mitigate the level of anger you may feel in your journey to improving, and will help you consistently make better decisions in your matches. Now, everyone gets frustrated for different reasons. Sometimes you feel like your inputs are not coming out the way you would like, your opponent is zoning, etc. One way to deal with that frustration is to take a break. I noticed in myself that I am heavily tilted after some matches, and I know that anger will only get worse if I keep playing, so stepping away and engaging with something else helps alleviate some of that frustration. Depending on what exactly caused me to get upset, I can approach the game in a different way, which may help prevent me from feeling upset about the same thing again. If I felt that my super sort of totally come out, I will hit up training mode and practice my super inputs so that way they come out more consistently. There's a lot of reframing and assessing you have to do to keep you cool. So as important as it is to not get angry, it is equally important to know how to assess your strengths and weaknesses. So after spending some time in training mode, you got a good feeling on how to use your character. You've been playing some matches in ranked or with some friends, and you won some games. The next step to keep on improving from here is to be able to understand what strategies are effective and which ones are not. At a low level of gameplay, it can be difficult to tell what is effective and what isn't. Some strategies that are weak will work sometimes because your opponents are learning the game at a low level. An example of this is jumping in on your opponent often when it is unsafe. A weak player will let you jump in for free, while a strong player will hit you with an anti-air on your way in. Things that are strong will usually always work at low level. Learning true block strings, understanding frame data, how to properly punish things will lead to more consistent success at low level. It's very difficult to do this on the fly in the middle of a match, so be sure to record your matches and watch them. Pay attention to what things you did that worked and what things that didn't work. Remember when I mentioned earlier that some weak strategies will work on weak players? When you do something that worked out well for you in a match, still think about what the opponent could have done differently to counter what worked. If there are easy answers to your strategies, it's probably best you find a stronger option for that situation. Now that you know some things that you have to do to improve, you just need to apply these ideas whenever you play fighting games. Be intentional, keep your cool, assess you and your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Following through with all of these will help you improve. There's a lot I haven't gone over, so utilize your resources, but remember to be an intuitive researcher. Also, if you have watched this video and thought, I do all this already, this isn't helpful at all, you're probably not a beginner, so congrats. I want to wish you the best of luck on your journey to improving at fighting games. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, leave a like and subscribe if you want to hear more from me. I do a variety of content that is very much weeaboo nerd stuff, so if you're into that sort of thing, you're very welcomed here. Thank you for watching, and take care.